Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. I am your host, Adam Portress, and I'm joined by the champion of the sun, Sweet Sean Kovacs from the internet.
I also can play saxophone and know karate.
And he's a master of karate and friendship for everyone, Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and smooth jazz is my superpower.
You bet it is. And we are here to determine if you're a crackpot or a patriot as we talk about a show that was surely ghostwritten by Dave Koz, Nightman from 1999. Holy cow. This is a show I forgot even existed until I kind of saw.
I didn't even know it existed until Bruce brought it up. I had no idea.
And I think a reason a lot of people may not know it existed is it was just straight up syndication, so your local channels may not have carried it.
Man, it is the best find of 2020. I'm not even kidding.
And we'll get into all that in just a second. Before we do, do want to say a big thank you to everyone who helped support this show over at patreon.com/HMP. There you get the pre-show, post-show, and of course the Dinger Zone. Everybody's favorite, the Dinger Zone. And we do want to welcome a new supporter over to the HMP family here. Mark LaFerrari, you have just joined in at the $5 level. And we want to say thank you, sir. Thank you for supporting us. And I believe Sean has a nickname ready for you, my man.
I do. I've got 3 ready. Are we going to do all 3
yes,
today?
Let's do all 3 today. These are because some of them we've forgotten about over time. And if we have forgotten yours, please shoot us an email, and I want to put together a thing of all the names and stuff so we have all the names proper, a proper ledger, as it were. But let's get on with this one.
So, Mark, I'm very sure your last name is not pronounced LaFerrari.
It might be. That's a pretty great car.
Well, sure, but no one's named LaFerrari.
Enzo Ferrari was pretty close.
Mark, your HMP nickname is Bingo Yahtzee Bullseye.
Ooh, that's a triple header right there.
Bingo Yahtzee Bullseye. And last week we had a new Patreon member. His name was Tommy.
Yes.
And Tommy, your HMP nickname is Rocket O'Houlihan.
Ooh. Nice. Very good.
And finally, one of our first listeners, Marty Merrick. Marty, we can't get rid of your name, Marty Merrick. So you're going to have the add-in nickname plus your own name. So from now on, I will only refer to you as the Unicorn Marty Merrick.
Oh, I like that.
Very good. I enjoy and I approve. And if you, too, would like to get yourself an HMP nickname and, of course, all the other fantabulous things listed
listen
above.
to this. When you have some time, you get great nicknames like Bingo Yahtzee Bullseye, Rocket O'Houlihan, and the Unicorn Marty Merrick. Come on, get out of here.
Yeah, so do that. Patreon.com/HMP. We really appreciate that and appreciate all of you fine people. Oh, and we got some good stuff for you coming up very soon. Details to come. All right, boys, let's get into it. I do not have a trailer for Nightman because, as you might imagine, trailers for television shows from 1999, trailers not aplenty for those. So we'll go ahead and get into it the old way.
It's time for Bruce's Comic Book Connection.
Well, Nightman was one of the main characters when Malibu Comics launched its Ultraverse in 1993. And Nightman was created by writer Steve Englehart, who's probably better known for creating Star-Lord. But with Nightman, he sort of just reworked another character he'd been working on called Shadow Man. Now, the superhero's actual name is Johnny Domingo that somehow got morphed to Johnny Domino. And he is
No, you were right the first time.
Yeah, and he is nocturnal because that is when the jazz clubs are hopping. The Nightman also operates a pirate radio show in the comics. Did you know that? He has a pirate radio show that broadcasts almost every night over San Francisco's airwaves. And at first, it was just a tool in his crime-fighting endeavors. It was used to send messages all over San Francisco, things like that he's looking for the freaks, and freaks is spelt with an X because it's the 90s. But then it became one of his favorite activities, and he has lots of activities because, as we'll find out later, he never sleeps. So the Nightman is hunted by the FCC for his pirate radio station, but he moves his equipment every night to a different spot, just like Christian Slater in Pump Up the Volume, an underrated cinematic classic if ever there was one. Now, I know all superhero comic books require a certain suspension of disbelief, but the Nightman comics would have you believe that the youths of San Francisco just love Nightman's smooth jazz tunes to the point he became a local cultural icon for his pirate radio station. Are you willing to swallow that hook, Adam?
Not quite.
Also, the comics describe his radio voice as sounding like Vincent Price. But when it comes to what makes Nightman super, he has but one real superpower. He can hear evil thoughts in the minds of nearby persons. That's it. He literally targets people based on thought crime. And for some reason, he doesn't need to sleep. It has also been said that the Nightman has a natural aptitude for natural aptitudes. Everything seems more easy for him than it should be. Johnny Domino trained hard in several physical disciplines, including Aikido, Taekwondo, gymnastics, athletics, since he was 5. Here is a quote directly from his website. Quote, he has won cups and awards in many sports while he was younger, end quote. He has also produced 8 solo albums of his oh-so-smooth saxophonic sounds, all of them chart toppers because he don't make no number 2s. Now, something else completely weird about the comic book. Johnny Domino, he grew up in an abandoned amusement park, totally as an example of what I call a writer cramming every idea he ever had into one character. And his father, who was the guard and caretaker of the abandoned park for some reason, also happened to be a Vietnam vet who made Johnny train hard every day from the time he could walk. But despite his uber-disciplined upbringing, he's been described by his own website as, quote, Johnny went on to become a successful sax player and all-around free-spirited cool cat, end quote. Now, one day, while he was walking in the street, a nearby tram was hit by something and exploded. Johnny had a fragment of metal hit him hard in the head, and he was rushed to a hospital. The doctors couldn't remove the fragment as it might damage his brain. But it seemed the only lasting effect would be that his pupils were permanently dilated, making his eyes sensitive to light. And this is an ophthalmologist's dream. You get a great look if their pupils are permanently dilated. Now, later on, many of the people who were in the tram had gained superhuman powers. And Johnny discovered he too was experiencing strange events. His eyes could see in the dark. He didn't need to sleep anymore, and he could hear evil thoughts. He used these powers to fight bad guys in the night. Sometimes he fought criminals. Sometimes he fought werewolves and witches. The Nightman made his base in one of the closed rides at the amusement park. It was, of course, the Tunnel of Horror that he chose for his base of operations. But shortly after he showed up, the whole Ultraverse went down the toilet. The Ultraverse line was published by Malibu Comics, a company that had a few hits like Men in Black and Nightman, but seemed to have a lot of financial troubles. As American comic sales declined in the mid-90s, Malibu canceled their lower-selling series. Eventually, the whole company was purchased by Marvel Comics in November of 1994. And, there are reports out there that Marvel didn't actually want the intellectual property. What they wanted was the groundbreaking in-house color studio technology that they had. So with the new order in town, editorial led to uneven quality of the Ultraverse titles. There was a series of crossovers with Marvel characters called Black September, but the sales of the imprint dropped, and eventually all the titles were canceled, and the red-hot heroes like Nightman drifted into obscurity. In 2003, Steve Englehart was commissioned by Marvel to relaunch the Ultraverse with the most recognizable characters such as the Nightman, but editorial decided finally not to resurrect the imprint because it was Nightman. So as it stands now, we may never again see Nightman grace the pages of comics, but thanks to Prime Video, we can rewatch all the television episodes as many times as we want, which isn't necessarily all that many times.
Oh, it's enough times. There's 44 episodes. What's more surprising? This thing has 44 episodes, or the Nightman costume has a belly button? Because both are fairly surprising to me.
The belly button's better than the nipples that George Clooney had.
Well, yeah, listen, if you're going to give me a choice of belly button or nipples for your costume, belly button at least, all right. It's
Why
okay.
not both?
Yeah, double up.
I'll say one thing that I noticed right off the bat watching this movie, this made-for-TV movie that is, put out as 2 episodes with it to be continued in the middle. In the comics, Nightman was I always kind of thought like a little bit more of a Batman, but in this show, I think they try to make him a little more of a Superman than a Batman.
And that's the biggest problem with the show. Good night,
That's the
everybody.
only problem.
No, there's
This
plenty
is
of problems.
Perfect.
Bruce. I cannot heap enough praise on this show. This show scratches an itch that I have so hard. It is so perfect. It was shot in '99, but for some reason it was shot unironically.
Yeah, feels like 95.
So it's so earnest in the making of the show. Everything is played straight, like seriously deadly straight, and it is wonderful. Like
Now
from the color schemes of the show to the fact that the special effects are all laughable and great. It feels like something that if they tried to make it now, they would make it winking to the audience, but they didn't do that. And for that, it is a treasure.
There's not an
I am
ounce of
so
humor.
happy to have Nightman in my life. I'm not even kidding when I say this to you. If I'm in a bad mood, I'm going to throw on an episode of Nightman.
Now, I'll tell you part of why I think this is so great and why it's made with this sincerity along with the silliness. The guy who developed this, Glenn Larson. Are you guys familiar with Glenn Larson at all?
No.
Not by name.
Okay. So Glenn Larson had a rich history in the 80s of attempting to counter program against Dallas. That's like what he did in the 80s. And he would,
So then I do know him because he's
Okay.
an NBC guy, right?
I thought Dallas might have been on NBC. I don't know, but I'll tell you the
Yes.
shows. You're definitely going to know the kind of shows like
Dallas is
apparently. Yeah, apparently it was so impossible to compete with Dallas that nothing was too ridiculous because Glenn Larson brought us Manimal.
Right,
Glenn Larson brought us the Misfits of Science.
right.
Glenn Larson, I think, brought us Automan, which is like Manimal, only it's a car. And he might have also done that. I think it was called Nighthawk or Street Hawk, the one with the motorcycle.
Street Hawk, baby.
Yeah, that was kind of like, Knight Rider, only it was a motorcycle.
One of my favorite shows when I was a very small child.
Yeah, so Glenn Larson did all of that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Like all these shows that I never would have dreamed were from the same guy, but they're these weird things that in a pre-YouTube life that we used to live, people like me and you, Sean, like you would remember these shows, but you couldn't prove to people these shows if they didn't remember them. So sometimes they thought you were lying to them.
I don't know if I ever would have found this show. Quite honestly, I didn't know Nightman existed. I knew Malibu Comics and I knew like Prime. Is that a
Yeah.
Malibu comic?
Yeah, Prime was part of the Ultra Force.
And for a long time I thought that the Badger was part of Malibu, but it's not. It's part of Eclipse. I know. And so, I have this affinity for superheroes that are done by lesser publishers, and just like, this character has massive Wolverine envy, like stuff
Yeah.
like that. And Nightman, clearly, just from the name, just from the scheme of his outfit, clearly in the comic books had Batman envy, like you said. But because Batman 89 is 10 years after this thing shoots, they're like, you know what? People are tired of Batman. Let's do the thing that the character isn't. And
make him Superman, too.
Every decision they make is terrible. Every casting choice is awful. The soft sax that's playing throughout the entire show, it's the exact wrong thing, and all of it is amazing. It's just the best.
The best part,
I cannot say enough about this thing. I'm going to sound like a broken record. When they have, I know that I'm in good hands when you're just seeing the intro to the show and it says, and starring Taylor Dane as Carla Day. And immediately I was like, well, this show clearly was made for me. So I am going to just sit back and enjoy every second of this thing. And Damn it,
Now,
did I?
The title music is so strong. And that's just it. It's the same riff over and over and over for the entire 2.5 minute intro. You remember when shows used to have these giant intros that took up 5 minutes of the show? And it was the same every week.
And I think somehow in my mind, I conflagrated Nightman with Bible Man. Because back like a year ago or whatever, when we agreed to watch Bible Man, I thought it was going to be something like this. I think I must have
Well,
seen,
it is. Later on, Bible Man does become a lot like Nightman, I've learned.
but I think the Nightman costume it's probably something I saw a commercial in the 90s on some basic cable channel, and I thought it was Bible Man when I was seeing Nightman, because like this costume, I thought that maybe Willie Ames had longer hair. This is exactly what I thought Bible Man looked like.
Yeah, this is, and that's, I remember seeing kind of just trailers and stuff. I don't think I ever saw an actual episode, but like this and like The Cape, those were the two things that you saw like promos for, but you never actually watched an episode because why would you? But you can't get across, you can't not miss that that red eye. That was the thing that was just like, ooh, what is this? This is strange. And the funny part is I love watching this to go, they don't know what to do with that little red eye. They have no idea. They're like, do we make it flash? Do we just make it stay all the time? If it stays all the time, is that like it means it's good? Is that like he's blinking if we flip it? I don't know. There's no real rhyme or reason as to why it's blinking or when or for whatever reason.
Other thing about the show that is like a gift to humanity is that there's a lot of people who are now famous who were on the 2 episodes that we saw, or maybe not famous, but you recognize their faces.
There's enough little character actors in this whole thing. For sure.
I would say there's at least 3 famous people if you count Taylor Dane as famous.
And I do.
I do. I definitely do. I didn't even know I liked Taylor Dane until I watched this episode.
Can I say this, though? I am so glad she's in this because at least we have someone playing the role of a singer who can actually sing. So many of these actresses that they get in there, you just have to pretend like you're like, it's good for an actress. She's a really good singer, and it certainly shows. And like, I mean, it's a boring Ella Fitzgerald song that's just been done into the freaking dirt. I think they got it for cheap, and that's how they did it. But even despite it being kind of just a wishy-wash done song, she does a great job at it.
And, you know, if Matt McComb can play his own saxophone, she can sing her own song.
Man, let me tell you something about this saxophone. I love it so much because now I play guitar, so I can tell when people are faking guitar and stuff. It's not too difficult to fake guitar. You just have to kind of know a little bit about it. You even need to know even less to be able to fake saxophone. And when you play saxophone and you look like you're not playing a saxophone, you really suck.
Bruce,
when the fingers don't move at all.
Bruce, you've got to say the thing that you texted us both last night when it came to this show.
Which thing? I texted 2 things.
It's like Kenny G is psychic and also a karate master and also Bible Man.
Yes, that one. I didn't know if I wanted to share the one I texted about Taylor Dane and her naughty mouth.
No, sir. That is between you and your wife.
But yeah, was Kenny G big in 1997?
Dude, Kenny G
You
was
mean
big.
as big as he is now? Yes.
Yeah, like
Okay,
he was like huge from like
I feel
93
like he peaked
to now.
at some point. I feel like there was a time when he was bigger than he is now.
We haven't reached that.
No.
yet.
Continually growing.
He's
the
still
ever-growing Kenny
Growing
G.
his fan
His
base.
audience is gigantic, and they love his stuff. We all just go like, "Oh, Kenny G, what a joke!" Kenny G sells more albums than you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, because he's international. And also, here's the secret with Kenny G that a lot of people don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He is massive in the African American community. Massive.
He's
Here-
really
here's
good
the thing
too. I don't care what anybody says. That guy is talented.
Yeah.
Can
So's
we
Taylor
all
Dane.
agree?
Oh, yeah.
Can we all agree that Yanni peaked though? Like Yanni's on the
Oh,
down
Yanni
slope?
peaked for sure. Yanni
Okay,
peaked
good,
around
good.
like 83.
I can't bring myself there yet, Bruce. I can't bring myself.
I want to say it, but my heart won't let
I
me.
want to, but my heart won't let me.
Because I don't know what kind of comic book creator wants to make a superhero that plays smooth jazz saxophone at night, unless it was like kind of peak Kenny G. influence going on.
The second the guy pulls out a saxophone, I was like, is this going to get any better? How can this possibly get any better?
You know, the best part is his saxophone shirt.
Oh,
I love the saxophone shirt, to show off the guns while you're playing the sax.
Hey, what else are the ladies coming
Johnny
for?
Domino, for God's sake.
And I love he's having the conversation with his dad, who's a retired police officer. And
Which he tells you about no less than 17 times.
You remember when I was a retired police officer? Yeah, Pop, you just said it 4 seconds ago.
It's kind of a TV trope that the dad wants the son to go into a more stable career. He's a musician, and you don't think being a musician is real work. But I love it that his recommendation for a more stable lifestyle is karate teacher. He said, they could use a good karate teacher down at the force.
Well, at least it's at the force and not like saying, listen, you need to open up your own strip ball karate dojo.
But I do like it that he's not saying go be a cop. He's saying go be a karate teacher.
That's kind of that's kind of a good
that
dad.
Other Johnny who lives just down the street, who came in second in the All Valley Karate Tournament, is doing just fine.
Yeah. Oh, man. And he does kind of have like the John Kreese shirt when he's playing the saxophone with the sleeves cut off.
Man, here's the thing also with Matt McComb, the guy who plays Nightman / Johnny Domino. You can tell when you're watching it is that he is a very successful stuntman, and he's really good with the stunts. I mean, he truly is. But you can tell because he's not a bad looking guy. He's a good looking guy, and he's fit as hell. But what you can tell just by looking at him that he thought numerous times while working on other properties, I can do that acting stuff. Yep. and I've got bad news, Matt. You can't.
No, it's like, it's okay.
Even though he's a stuntman, I got to say he wasn't that great in the one scene where he actually had to do karate, in my opinion. It was kind of like Dolomite level karate.
I think he might know more karate than he knows saxophone, though.
No, that's a toss up, which
you can't bring yourself to get there.
He's qualified to do both. So,
hey, listen, man, if you watch the movie Kickboxer, you have more like karate knowledge than he does saxophone knowledge. I'll tell you that right now.
And why did they miss the low hanging fruit? If you got a guy who's a jazz saxophonist and a karate master, why don't you have him use the saxophone in his karate?
It could be interesting. We get Wu Ping up here. That guy can make anything into a weapon.
People will know to look for Johnny Domino.
They'll just follow the smooth sax through the air. Oh, he could play that while he flies. Which, by the way, let's talk about that for a second. Holy cow. I love how this is 1999. Everybody's just purchased a brand new Avid Media composer, and by God, they're going to get their money's worth. This movie is just blue screen. Is back. This is 99, so they're doing blue screen more than likely. This is blue screen heaven. Oh my word! It's so great.
It's like they were like, we can either go with the Avid or we can go with the secondhand video toaster. Let's go Avid.
We're going that one, and boy, are we gonna squeeze every. Do you know how much money we paid for that? Hell yes, we're gonna put in a green screen where this like just a silhouette shot of like this house, and like we're gonna make the sky different colors just on account of we can.
Now, one thing that did get under my skin just a little bit is they work so hard to make everything 100% scientifically accurate. But the anti-gravity belt would only make you go up and down. Like you turn gravity off and you go up, you turn it back on and you go down. You can't fly. There's no thrust with an anti-gravity belt.
Did you see the cape flapping in the wind?
Is the hologram.
I love that one because that's exactly what I would do if I had to play sax at a jazz club.
Now, how did he load that into a hologram maker? Him playing jazz for an hour and a half.
I like that in this world, a hologram doesn't require a projector. A hologram is like something you can pull out of your pocket and set on the table.
Toss a hologram over there, will you?
But I like the idea that Nightman was behind that whole Tupac thing at Coachella like 5 years ago.
This is the handiwork of Nightman again. I tell you what, that guy gets around.
Oh, he came down south.
Also, when Daniel Day Kim shows up in this show.
Yes.
How old is Daniel Day Kim?
He's only like 42.
That's one of
I mean, he hasn't aged much. Seeing him in this thing, it's like seeing somebody from, like an old Three Stooges short, and they show up.
Yeah,
they show up in a movie, and you're like, that person doesn't age. What is happening?
it is weird because, like, what we'll call it 6-7 years later, he doesn't look. Well, actually, even up to this day, he doesn't look much. He looks like maybe 5 years older than that right now.
Yeah,
like
Was he
unbelievable,
just-
that guy.
Was it just that he wasn't famous yet? Is that why he's at the table?
I think so. Like, I think he's probably just working his way on up. I mean,
It's like you have Daniel Day Kim sitting at the table, and you give that other guy all the cheesy lines. It just doesn't seem right.
well, you give him 5 years, and he's on Lost, and so he's kicking butt then. So I think that's
also
all right.
the other guy is from Indiana Jones.
Yeah, like that. He's awesome.
Yeah, that's hard to argue with. And it took me a while before I was willing to believe, like, there's this one bad guy. I have no idea what his name is, but he had such an Oliver Pratt vibe. I did not believe it wasn't Oliver Pratt until I was worked really hard to convince myself that he wasn't.
Yeah,
It's Platt, sir.
I'm sorry, Chris Platt, Oliver Pratt. Wait, did I get him backwards again?
something
Yes.
like that.
Oliver Platt. Let me change that.
There you go.
I thought he had a real Oliver Platt, young, handsome Oliver Platt vibe.
By the way, Nightman is 1997.
7? Oh, well, I guess 99's when it ended. There you go.
Yeah, the made-for-TV movie that we watched is from '97. Then they had 2 seasons.
I still can't believe they had that many
Oh,
seasons.
and
Crazy.
this is now I haven't seen season 2, but I read that it did like this awesome thing where in season 2 they moved from, for some reason they decided they could save money by not filming in San Francisco and actually going to Vancouver.
First and foremost, I don't believe for 1 second they shot in San Francisco, because all they had was like, just generic flyover stuff like, hey, here's the Golden Gate Bridge. You see the Golden Gate Bridge in this thing as much as you do in the room, man. It's crazy.
But they moved the whole kit and caboodle to Vancouver for season 2. And
How
they
could the
just
lights
totally
get more neon, but send them to Vancouver? I don't know.
They totally recast every single member of the show except Matt McCallum and acted like nothing happened.
Really?
I like
Yeah.
that idea.
So I'm going to have to check out season 2's premiere just to see that happen.
So I don't get to see any more Derek Webster after the first season?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh,
But fortunately, you still get Matt McCallum.
I love how in his jazz, like the only 2 black people in this show are never in his jazz club. I always thought that was great. It's just like it's all just white people, just wall to wall listening to this horrible smooth jazz, just going, "Yep, this is white people jazz." Good job.
And I like the way that the secure line works when the Secretary of Defense, like, he needs to use a secure line, so they give him the red phone. He's got the red receiver, and then he's calling somebody on a flip cell phone. So it's like, for a line to be secure, it kind of has to be secure on both sides, doesn't it?
Yeah, you would think. But here's so many
And a
little problems.
1997 cell phone where all you needed was like a police scanner to hear what they were talking about.
Well, the bad thing about those phones too is that because that's like one of the early cell phones my dad had, and you can't just hang those up by flipping the little thing up like that. You got to press that end button. If you don't do that, that's just going to eat up them minutes. This isn't real at all, is it?
That's a feature, not a bug.
I love James Karen. He's in so many different movies from my childhood. But man, he is bad in this. The guy who plays the secretary.
Oh yeah. No, he's pretty terrible.
Man, he is really bad in this, especially in the hospital where he starts yelling. He starts yelling at Nightman about how did you know that was happening? It's just so bad.
And then there's the foreign lady bad person. I don't even know what her name is, but I like it because when I'm hearing her foreign accent, it kind of goes from Russian to German. A touch of French slips in there one time. Like, I don't know if she's incredibly talented swinging between those accents or she's just doing the best she can.
I think it's the best she can, or probably what's more almost likely is that she got a dialect coach while she was on set there, and her dialect coach was absolutely terrible and just go, no, do like this. And then she go like, all right, I'll do like that. And then it's like, oh, guess what? You're now gone from Russian to German. Good luck.
Oh, I think that she was speaking phonetically.
Oh, it's well possible.
But the robot spider, I got to tell you, one of the greatest things in the history of television.
This giant tarantula that comes out of its own little tiny box walks around in the most skittish, stupid fashion. It looks like a movie from the 50s.
Instead of spending $20 on a real tarantula, we made a robot tarantula that costs upwards of $1 million.
And looks like it's having a seizure.
And I like it. They just write it into the show. They probably plan to have a real spider that they could sell as being real, but they say, oh, the spider's not real, but the venom is. Go with it.
I loved how when the spider goes out, does its thing, and then goes back into the box, the lid closes behind it when it walks into the box. It's so good.
I love these needlessly elaborate death plots that you used to get from like 60s James Bond, but you can also get them from 90s Nightman. That, yeah, we're going to kill him with a robot spider from a box.
I love when they're in the warehouse hiding out from the police and the the feds that are bad have turned bad. And not the part where they have the invisible cape. That part's fine. It's when they start levitating and they're walking across the steel beams on the roof.
Yeah.
Those steel beams make no noise at all.
Which
no one ever looks up. Because when you're looking for people, you just look straight ahead.
Well, and it's weird that they don't make any noise because especially the first half of this thing is so overproduced in the sound department to the point of utter distraction. By the way, and this is where I'm going to also, at the same time, kind of crap on the IMDb app. Sure, we can watch all 44 episodes of Nightman on the IMDb app with ads, but you can't cast it up to anything. I had to watch this whole thing on my iPad. It was awful.
Me too.
It's just so bad, but like the sound in it is so over the top. Footsteps are just as loud as dialogue. It is done horribly. Every little crinkle of a paper or something is way too loud. It is like first year film school stuff where like when you say, "Hey, do some sound design for this scene," and then they give it to you and it's so overdone because instead of being subtle, they're like, "Well, you've got to hear those footsteps. Put it up to an 8."
It's like an old-time radio Foley artist.
Are bad at their job.
I think a lot of them are.
This show did win awards.
Like what do you call them? The Razzies?
Have you guys heard of the Leo Awards?
Oh, of course.
Oh, the fantabulous Leo Awards, known worldwide. Yes,
they're awards. They're awards specifically for productions made in Vancouver. The Leo Awards, and this won Best Musical Score.
Well, yeah. I mean, once you get hooked in with that sweet jazz, it's going to happen.
You're there till the end. There's no way.
Oh, it's so
bad. So it did win the Leo Award.
And as I texted you guys last night, hands down, not even close. My favorite thing about these two episodes is when Nightman has to trail someone in his car, which is a purple
Prowler.
Yeah, a purple Plymouth Prowler. And they don't know that he's behind them.
And the same question I had for you when you texted that is like, how much do I'm picturing this as kind of the jazz equivalent of an open mic night. Like he's playing in the same jazz club every single night. So they're probably not paying him a ton of money.
He's got a residency.
An expensive car. That's an expensive car on a jazz musician's salary. He's not even doing the karate teaching on the side.
Have you guys ever seen one of those in person? They're very cool.
Yeah. Yes.
Very cool looking car.
I knew a neurosurgeon that had one, so I would see it at the hospital.
It's so. I think they. Am I wrong or like? I feel like I've only ever seen them in purple.
Yellow. I've seen yellow.
The one I saw was red.
Huh.
Yeah, I've seen yellow.
Maybe it's just I've seen two and they like prior to this one and then probably a couple different ones online. They've all been purple. It feels like maybe purple was a very high selling color for that one. I don't know, or maybe
they're just Nightman fans.
Yeah. Hey, look, I saw Nightman and I knew I had to get a Prowler.
You go to these comic book conventions, and they have the Batmobile and the Mystery Wagon and the Nightman Prowler all out front, so you can take your picture with them.
Mom, I want to sit the Nightman Prowler. Yeah.
Oh, I bet you that didn't make the trip to Vancouver either.
You know what the taxes on that would be? He drove a Chevette.
He's all public transit once he gets to Vancouver.
I'm thinking that's Matt McComb's personal vehicle.
It could be.
Hey, sometimes there's weird things like that happen. Like that first Bad Boys movie, the Porsche that's in that flick is Michael Bay's car because he's like the production wouldn't pay for it. He's like, I just want this. All right, fine, use my car. So it's not impossible that it might have been his or someone else's in there to just go like, I got this awesome car. You're gonna look at this awesome car forever. Put it in Nightman. Why don't you?
And guys, I don't know how much time has to pass before we can cover another episode of Nightman, but I've already got the next one picked out. Because I haven't seen it, but I read that the season 1 finale is an episode in which Johnny dies, he goes to heaven, and God shows him clips from the first season.
Oh my God, that's perfect.
It's a Wonderful Life sim into coming back to Earth. So it's a clip show for the finale with Johnny in heaven. In case
I saw that the third episode had Little Richard in it.
Oh man, I want to see that one too. just now gone from us, Little Richard. Holy cow, that guy hung on forever.
Oh man,
big fan.
So here's, I guess we got to ask this question: what's the deal with David Hasselhoff in this show for like 30 seconds?
So this is NBC.
This was syndicated,
but it's an NBC program though, isn't it?
No, it's just like Baywatch syndication.
So yeah, well, okay, then whatever. So same company there, pretty much. Then I feel like he probably owed somebody something. Maybe Baywatch Nights was about to kick up.
Kick up or kick off? I mean, this is 97.
I don't know. I don't remember when that show was. I just remember seeing things at Baywatch Nights. Who's watching this? Baywatch itself isn't very good. Why would you watch like a nighttime version of it?
Well, he was fighting werewolves on that one.
I guess so.
But yeah, David Hasselhoff like shows up and you recognize him like it's a fun cameo, and then he dies immediately. And of course, that's when Johnny drops the "can't lose" line. He was a hassle.
So terrible.
They don't even give Hasselhoff something cool to do while he's there.
They don't
he
give
just turns around and you recognize him and he dies.
You caught the link earlier, Bruce. Because Glenn A. Larson was the executive producer of Knight Rider.
Nightman. Well, Knight Rider, an awesome show.
But have you seen it lately?
It's not like, it's so weird. He has no connection to the story. I don't know that we know his name. I don't know anything. He just turns around and just goes, you, and then kills him. And it's like, really? Okay, sure. And then he throws in his cheesy line.
That is another thing about Nightman is he has no problem killing people.
Oh,
yes.
No, they kill a lot of people in this, surprisingly.
He personally kills no less than 5 people.
And no regret, no regrets when he does it.
Hey, listen.
Not a moment to reflect on the lives lost in this battle. It's just like, okay, well, I'm going to go play some jazz now.
He's so hard-hearted so fast. But then again, he also takes to being a superhero better and quicker than anyone in the history of the world, probably.
And why are these international arms dealers so excited about this neutron gun?
Yeah.
It looks like it
it's
just kind of sets
gun.
people on fire or something like that, right?
I mean, it's kind of cool. It's like a neat gadget, but it's not any more effective than just a regular gun.
It's true.
Like it only attacks one person at a time. I think you're probably better off with the machine gun that's rapid fire.
They did have that one line that it can shoot through solid mass, I want to say.
Well, that's kind of how bullets work.
I was about to say
I
bullets.
know. I'm just throwing it in there.
You throw a steak knife hard enough.
The idea of a neutron bomb was that you would kill all the people but not damage the property. And it's like a capitalist bomb where you could get all the people out of a city, then go take all the stuff that's worth something, which you couldn't do with hydrogen bombs, for example. But a neutron gun, if you're just taking them out one person at a time, you're going to have a long day. So a regular gun would probably work just as good.
I'm just burning.
Man, Bruce, I am going through Glenn A. Larson's producing career.
Yeah.
He is executive producer, starts in 1973 with The $6 Million Man.
Not a bad start.
Moves on from that to Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
Yep.
He's got a ton of stuff in between there. Then he starts Buck Rogers in the 25th Century.
Yep.
Goes from that, moves into BJ and the Bear.
One of my all-time favorite shows.
I know it
featuring the
is. That's why I brought
chimpanzee,
it up. Then
Greg
Manimal,
Evigan. Yep.
Automan, Knight Rider, The Fall Guy. Good God, Magnum PI. Holy cow.
He is the greatest content producer in all of television.
My God, man. If there's a high concept, stupid thing, he's usually behind it.
Well, the amazing thing is like, go over that list. We're not talking about the most stellar things in the world, and he still keeps getting busy. He's a heck of a salesman, probably, it sounds like.
If you told me that he came up with Riptide, I'd believe it.
He's probably got a great pitch.
Yeah. Let me tell you something about this. It's a guy who got like a big red eye, see? And he goes around punching people while he plays the saxophone. Give me money. And they're like, that sounds pretty good to me. Just give him money.
Oh, man. I like the pitch for Riptide. It's two guys on a boat. You're not interested. Then you say, but one of the guys also has a robot. Then suddenly you're interested.
And a helicopter with a crazy face on it.
Oh, man. He probably worked not on Airwolf, but on like that other thing that was a ripoff of Airwolf.
Blue Thunder is not a ripoff of Airwolf, sir. It was a movie first.
Oh, okay.
It starred Roy Scheider.
That's it. That's all I know.
I can't remember anything else except for that Dana Carvey was in it as Jaffo on the TV show.
Might have to go check it out again.
No, don't get me wrong. It is god awful, but man, can you imagine? Like, you could start up the Larson verse with everything that he's put his hand into.
Yes. And it would
be
be
you
joyful.
Get a $6 million man, Automan,
and the Bionic Woman,
Nightman together. Get out of here.
And what brought my attention to this Nightman property in the first place is season 2. There's a crossover where Manimal shows up on Nightman.
I did see that.
So
is he actually Manimal on the show?
Yes.
Oh,
but he
Lord.
But he's
Why
not
are we still talking and not watching that episode?
And he's not just Manimal, but he's Manimal who can now travel in time. So he goes back in time to like fight Jack the Ripper.
Oh my God, that's perfect.
Like you do. A couple other the great kind of sort of, I don't know if they're cameos because I don't know how long they go on within the series itself. But Michael Hardney as the Mr. Kruger guy, the guy from Orange is the New Black. He's kind of the warden guy.
I mean, what I'm wondering is, like, as soon as the camera shut off on episode 2, did his hair immediately go white?
Like the first couple of minutes, I'm like, who is that? I feel like the voice sounds familiar, and he's not doing a great job in this show. Let's be honest.
For a second, I thought it was Bruce's guy from Preacher. The guy who plays Arseface's dad.
Oh, yeah. You should know his name,
I should.
Adam, but it's like totally Brown, I think is the last name, but it's got like 3 names. Earl something Brown or something like that.
W. Earl Brown. There you go.
Yeah.
Took us a second, but we all got there. Well, the teamwork made the dream work on that one. Rick Young just looking like the psychotic madman that he does in every single thing that he's in ever.
Well, you don't hire that guy to play the normal guy.
No, we need you to play some coked out weirdo. Can you do that for us?
You need to be screaming,
Your
and you
face
need to die horribly.
Yes. But I love that. I love the.
Well, I do love that in this made for TV movie we get not one but 2 sort of recreations of Die Hard when the guy's getting thrown out the window with the long arms and the weird looking perspective.
Yeah.
They
Again,
do that twice in this pilot.
They were
So
like,
good.
we got blue screen, baby, and we're going to use it for that. We're going to use it for her falling. We're going to use it for all of the stuff that was on any of the bridges. All of that was just blue screen background for everything. They got into it so hardcore with that. They're just so happy when that new editor came in. I promise. They were just like, yes, we can do it all.
What is it about the blue screen falling scene that makes your arms and legs look freakishly long?
Now, what's worse than that is as you're falling down off of a bridge, your arms and legs are flailing, but somehow your body's also going clockwise down. I'm like, that doesn't happen. That's not how things work. That's not physics, my friend.
Oh, man.
It's so bad. But yet, again, it is so good that it is so bad. I love just the taking off his shoes at the beginning there.
I want to go on the record that if somebody finds my shoes on a bridge, I didn't jump voluntarily because there's no way I'd leave my shoes behind. I was thrown.
I like how they were like, okay, yeah, what would he do if he was killing himself? Well, he'd leave a note, right? Well, the
He'd
note's
leave a
going to
note
just fly
printed
right off.
He'd leave a note printed out on a computer printer but signed on a soft surface. That was some real detective work.
And he's so good. Like, Dad is always on the case. He's always following somebody. Like, this is a show that so clearly is in the 90s because he's like, I've got a cell phone. Watch me use it. Because he is like, he's always tailing somebody or doing something. He's calling, Dad, I know you're like, I know I'm not supposed to be on the clock right now. I know I'm retired. But you know what? I see this guy and I'm following him. And no one knows it's me because I'm a great detective, Dad.
Hey, I found his shoes. Detective Dad here. Found the shoes.
Oh, and he touches all of it like he's collecting
put
evidence.
them in a garbage bag so they'd be clean.
You're like, hey, my fingerprints aren't all on them. Yes, they are. You literally just took them out of the bag and showed it to him. If that's what you did while he was looking, what were you doing when he wasn't looking? Come on, man.
I think more superheroes need the multi-step origin story like Nightman has. Like the first step in the origin story is just randomly struck by lightning, causes a power that you wouldn't assume would be caused by being struck by lightning. And then step 2 is you befriend a guy who just happens to have the greatest American hero suit that you can put on. So I like this 2-step origin.
It's so bizarre, man. It's so weird. It's so wrong-headed. Having him get struck by lightning and being able to read people's minds. And then on top of it, the dude from the old British Avengers TV show is like, well, the reason why you can read their mind is because you got a link to evil.
Oh, and for
so
some
bad.
reason, I don't know if you thought this at all, Adam, but when like the psychiatrist comes in and tells him he's like a paranormal psychiatrist, I start having like Donald Pleasance thoughts from Halloween.
Hello. I just.
In my psychiatric opinion, that child is pure evil. Just switch up those gears.
We're just shifting real fast. We don't care what we go to. It's scientific and doctory. You shut up.
And probably
Also,
no
Babu
surprise.
is in this show.
Oh, yes.
Brian George, the actor who plays Babu on Seinfeld.
Oh, okay. I knew I recognized him from something.
Yeah, he's in a billion things, and like he is either like deathly serious or crazy over the top. There's not a ton of in between for his roles.
Which one is he here?
He's just kind of straight laced.
Yeah,
He's
like
the
you would
Arab.
think,
He's the Arab arms dealer.
yeah, but you would think this is the property where you'd want him over the top, but he seems to be giving a pretty down to earth
Hey,
performance.
everybody is in this, man. Everybody thinks that they're doing,
Not the psychiatrist. He knows what kind of show.
All
he's
right, so
making.
that guy's you're right. Maybe he's chewing a little bit of the scenery, but everybody else is just kind of like, hey, I'm here. This is what we're doing, and it's as serious as a heart attack, even though it looks like play school.
And then the guy that plays Johnny Domino's dad, Daddy Domino, I don't know what his first name is. He
Sergeant
also,
Dad.
yeah, he also kind of has a little bit of that chewing the scenery, like you can tell he grew up admiring Peter Falk or something.
No. Oh, wait a minute. I made a couple of notes. You just reminded me because I did write down, is this guy Columbo?
He reminds me there was this very Columbo-like guy in the Nick Hammond made-for-TV Spider-Man movies that we watched.
Oh,
and,
right.
Daddy Domino reminds me of that guy a lot. Cut it with the cauliflower. Isn't that what he says?
That's pretty close. All right, I'll read off a couple things I got here on my notes, on my rare note-taking ability. But sometimes for these shows, I'm like, I got to write
Good
some
job
of this
by
crap
you,
down.
Adam.
I'm sure there are things out there worse than riding a trolley car with a crummy saxophone player, but I sure can't think of any.
Why is he playing it while the train is moving?
He's entertaining them.
He's a busker. Prowlers don't pay for themselves.
I get it. Okay.
I love how he is such a legend. Everybody knows Johnny Domino. He is just the preeminent artist of all time. Everybody knows. Like, there's almost a point in this where somebody doesn't, but they might as well have said, "You don't know Johnny Domino." Like, it's close enough to that.
Also, the best way to hear sax is close quarters.
Because they're quiet instruments usually.
Yeah.
Who's that? I can't believe that was my next note. Who's that? You don't know the amazing saxophone player Johnny Domino.
He looks just like Karate Master Johnny Domino. Are they related?
Or psychic Johnny Domino.
I hear you never see him in the same room.
He has the same hair as Bible Man.
Oh, by the way, the theme song sounds like the Join the Navy song from that episode of The Simpsons where they play that backwards. I'll put in a clip in the show, but it's kind of uncanny. Let's see. Oh, every time, I don't know if anyone else does this, but they did it. They said it several times in this episode, and every time someone says it, I cannot help but out loud to say diplomatic immunity. It is my favorite. Anytime anybody says diplomatic immunity in a show, I have to say it out
Lethal Weapon
loud.
2 ruined it for Americans everywhere.
It's so good. And yet, they kind of throw up their hands and just go, what are you going to do? Diplomatic immunity.
Cougarans.
How long do you think it takes to go from jazz musician to guy who has no problem disintegrating people? Because this guy has it pretty quick. In 2 episodes, he is murdering cats left and right.
In fact, he did that so easily, you have to imagine it wasn't the first time he'd done that.
No, because there's no
sometime before
emotion
he even
to
became Nightman. That's how he made his way to the top in the dog-eat-dog jazz industry.
I'm also the originator of bum fights.
You think heroin killed all those jazz guys? No, it was me. And the last little stupid note I got here is, are you guys more CD-ROM guys or compact disc guys? Because that was a line that was said. Do you have any CD-ROMs, compact discs? I'm like, what? I'm like, it's pretty much the same thing there, buddy, but all righty.
97.
Like, our understanding of technology is good and deep. Shut your mouth. We know what we're doing over here. And let's see. Any other kind of wrap-up thoughts before we get into the old Stallone connection?
No, that's about it for me,
All
man.
right.
I it's so wonderful. It is a joy. This is one of those shows where, you know, when you hear something and you're like, oh, well, that's going to be like fun to watch to wail on. This is that show. Like, you absolutely can enjoy this, just wailing on it the entire time, because it is done straight-faced. Every decision is terrible. It just gets better and better and better as you keep watching too.
And they keep making weirder and weirder decisions from what I've read. So I've got to check out more of this show.
And,
it's so perfect.
And if I could say anything, I know IMDb is listening, because they're like, what do people think about Nightman? We need to tune into H&P to figure it out. But if anyone down at IMDb wants to know, just make your stuff castable up to a television or a streaming media box or something. Don't make us just watch it on our phones or tablets or anything. It's just so annoying.
IMDb, I will write a far better script if you're looking to relaunch Nightman.
And Adam, I was able to access it through Amazon Prime because my IMDb channel is linked to my Prime Video, so I did watch it on TV.
Really?
I may have to look into that.
That's how I'm going to do it then.
Yeah, so because we may have some more Nightman on the horizon after this one. But before we do and get to the grade for this 2-parter pilot extravaganza, we do have to ask ourselves how this television show relates 1-to-1 with Sylvester Stallone.
Thanks, Adam. I have a prepared statement. Al Sapienza is an actor. Sometimes he plays an Italian mobster or a Russian mobster or an American mobster. Sometimes he's not a mobster at all, and he plays a crooked cop. He plays Agent Briggs in the colossal achievement that is Nightman, and I can't remember if he plays a crooked agent or an agent who gets murdered, but whichever it is, it's the 785th time he's experienced being murdered on screen. He's been acting forever. He's on the first season of General Hospital, which has been on TV since 1963. Al Sapienza is in everything from The Facts of Life. He's in both the 98 and the 2014 Godzilla movies. And he's in something called Who Dropped the Soap? But back in 1995, he played a character called Young Judge Who Removes Dredd's helmet in Stallone's Judge Dredd.
What a name.
Not only is Young Judge Who Removes Dredd's helmet still working, but he's busier than ever. He's in 5 movies that were released in 2020, including Capone. He has 11 projects in development, including a movie called Magic in Mount Holly, which seems an awful lot like a Hallmark Christmas movie, fingers crossed. And there you have it, sweet Kovaxers. This week's Stallone connection is Al Sapienza. Adam and Bruce, this is the 327th episode of this bit, and still no word from Sylvester Stallone.
Darn shame. Only thing you got to do is tell them, people. Just tell them. All right, here at Hero Movie Podcast, we have our own patented Robin rating system. If you'd like to check that out, head on down to our subreddit, man. Reddit.com/r/Hero Movie Podcast. It's right up there, man. Check it out. Bruce, where does Nightman, whatever the name of this pilot is, we'll just call it the
Nightman.
Pilot Extravaganza.
Yeah, it's
Fallen
called
Rob
Pilot.
Pilot.
That's the name of it. Pilot. It's kind of like a hacky adaptation of a character that wasn't really all that great to start with, and something about that combination I enjoy. Now, I think people understand that I enjoy it doesn't mean that I think it's good or that you would even necessarily enjoy it, but you're not really going to get bored watching this. You're really not. And by all accounts, the episodes get more and more ridiculous. Like I said, they totally recast with all Canadians in season 2 and act like they're all the same, despite, saying sorry all the time. So this is like one of those things where I'm going to give it a Dick Grayson because I'm sorry, I'm not going to give it a Dick Grayson. I'm going to give it a Damian Wayne because I know it has limitations. But it's the kind of Damian Wayne that it's like the Dick Grayson of Damian Wayne's. Like you got to see this. It's like you smell something really bad. You turn to whoever's closest to you and say, "Oh man, this stinks. Smell this." It's like one of those shared experiences. I really
that is
want
the
people to
greatest
watch
rating
this.
ever, Bruce. This is the Dick Grayson.
It's an inception, so you just go down to the Damien level, and within that level is the Robin rating system yet again.
Dick Grayson of Damian Wayne.
Yep.
Marvelous.
I think I'll just go with regular Dick Grayson. Yeah, it's fun. It's stupid. It's not good, but it is that not good in a fun way, and they certainly live up to it. Sean?
This is, as I was saying in the pre-show, this is the reason why I'm part of this podcast in the first place. Nightman is glorious. It is so perfect. It is exactly what I wanted. I didn't know it existed, and it just paid off, baby. This is a Dick Grayson.
Very good. That is it, everybody. You can check out Nightman. Like we said, it's on IMDb TV for whatever that is. Just go on your IMDb app. It's there. It's all. And apparently can be linked up through Amazon, and you can watch it on a TV proper like a good civilized adult, not have to watch it on an iPad laying in the bed just going, this seems wrong and weird. But there you have it. What are we doing next week, everybody? We don't really know just yet, but you know where you'll find that out over there in the post show. You can get that by heading on over to patreon.com/HMP pre-show, post-show, Dinger Zone, and of course, get yourself an awesome HMP nickname as well. Shine up today. Bruce, where we might find more of your work on the internet today?
I think you can just always be on the lookout for anything with 30 questions in it. Specifically, we're wrapping up The Boys season 2, The Boys 30 questions this week. So you might want to go check that out.
Sean, what else?
Why don't you become my Twitter friend? Find me at Sean Kovacs 4. That's SEAN Kovacs and the number 4 on Twitter.
I like how he spells the tough part. That's the important one. And, of course, just check out all the 30 Questions show. We got tons of that coming up. And, of course, Mandalorian 30 Questions is coming in hot, everybody. It's not too long. So if you haven't checked up on that, check out Mandalorian 30 Questions wherever you find podcasts. That is it, everybody. Join us next week for more fun and excitement for Sweet Sean's Kovacs from the Internet. Bruce Leslie, I'm Adam Porteous. Stay super, everybody.
Goodbye, the unicorn, Marty Merrick. Goodbye, Evie.